Hello and welcome to part 4 of a series of tutorials on using EndNote at RIT. Once again, I am Roman Kashikar, the Computing and Information Sciences librarian at the RIT libraries. And when we left off at the end of part 3 of this series, I had organized references that I'd saved in part 2 into a group called Dinosaurs Fall 2021. So we can now see that those 3 references are still here in this group. Now, if I want to create a bibliography of these references that I've saved in a group, then I need to use the Format menu and choose the Bibliography option. Now, this screen asks me to choose what references that I want to create a bibliography from, and I'm going to choose that group name. Then I'm prompted to choose a bibliographic style, and there are a number of styles here that I have added for myself as favorites. If you open up Select Favorites, you can add up to 25 favorite styles from a list of about 100 styles that have been enabled for use at RIT. So I'm going to choose the APA 7th edition. And as a file format, I'm going to choose rich text file or RTF, which will output my bibliography as a Microsoft Word document. And then if I save that, EndNote has exported a list into my downloads folder, and I can open that in Microsoft Word. And just like that, I have a bibliography of just those 3 references that are saved in that group in the proper APA 7th edition citation format. So very quickly, I've created a bibliography that I can then copy or use for anything I would like. The most useful bibliographic tool that EndNote provides is the Cite While You Write plugin for Microsoft Word. You can access that from the Format menu, click Cite While You Write plugin, or you can go to the Downloads menu and access it there. It is compatible with Word for Windows and Mac, so download and install the version that you require. And in Word, I already have Cite While You Write installed. And what appears in Word for Windows, at least, is a tab that reads EndNote. And when I click on that, I'm prompted to enter my EndNote login. So I'll put in my email address and EndNote password. If you wish, you can click Remember My Address and Password for easier access in the future. And then once I'm logged in, I have a menu of EndNote options that I can use when I write a document. So here I can begin to write a new paper, and this is where I want to insert my first citation. So place my cursor where I want to insert a citation and click the Insert Citations button. Notice that in Cite While You Write, you're not really able to browse your list of citations or groups of citations. You have to search for an author name or a keyword and access it that way. So I'm going to search for the term dinosaurs, and it will find not only the 3 references that I saved in previous parts of this tutorial, but any reference that I've saved in my personal library that has the word dinosaurs in it. And I can choose the reference that I want and insert that reference. And it will insert it according to the style that I've chosen. In this case, it's the IEEE style, which is a numerical style. So it put brackets, reference number 1, and began building a bibliography automatically for me at the end of my document. So if you've forgotten which references you have saved, you can use the Go to Endnote Online button, and that will take you to Endnote on the web, and you can search within your web library for the proper reference. You can add in additional references as you keep writing your paper. I'm going to insert a citation, and it remembers the last search I did, so I can put in another reference that has the word dinosaurs in it. And again, I have the ability to build my bibliography as I drop in text citations, and that is done automatically. If I want to edit a citation, I simply have to click on it, which highlights it, and then I can edit that citation by excluding the author's name or year, which varies by the referencing style being used. I can view the reference details. I can put in page numbers, also sometimes required for the reference style that's being used. And if I want to change the style that I'm using in my document, I can change it automatically by a drop-down menu here that contains all of my favorite styles that I have added in the Endnote Online interface. So I can reformat my document from IEEE style to APA style automatically. And APA style is a author date style, so it also reorders the bibliography for me by alphabetical order instead of numerical order. And you can configure your bibliography with the use of a little down pointing arrow here, which allows you to alter the layout. You can make the bibliography a different font or a smaller point size. You can change the bibliography title from, say, references to works cited. You can change things like using indentations, hanging indentations, and line spacing as well. So that reformats the bibliography itself while leaving the text and the in-text citations as is. If at any time you need to push through any changes you've made, you can use the Update Citations and Bibliography button. And when you are completely done with your finished draft, you can convert citations and bibliography to a plain Word document. This will break the connection to your online EndNote library, but preserve the citations and bibliography as they are formatted. And that's kind of the final step, which allows you to have a finished draft ready to print or share with colleagues, and so on. In conclusion, I'd like to remind you that you have access to the EndNote info guide anytime at infoguides.rit.edu/endnote. And there is a page on this guide that contains some details about using Cite while you write. Notice that at the bottom, it mentions that if there are styles you wish to use that are not enabled, you can click this contact button and contact me to add that style for use at RIT. There is also some additional help found on this guide where you can watch EndNote's own YouTube training videos and access EndNote's online training guide from the vendor Clarivate. And that information might be helpful if you wish to learn more about some advanced features of using EndNote. This concludes the 4-part series on using EndNote at RIT, and I thank you for your attention.